Welcome to another episode of Worst Case Scenario. Today we will we ain't got a topic today. It's NFL's on TV. We got college football yesterday. Got a lot to talk about. Uh namely most SEC losing games yesterday and possibly playing themselves out of the college football playoff.
Hell yeah. Yep.
Hell yeah.
So I'm gonna throw it to you, D'Lo, right now. Tell me what you've seen yesterday and what was interesting.
I'll tell you what, man. I seen Alabama take a huge loss yesterday. Uh, I seen Ole Miss take a huge loss yesterday. We thought I mean, we knew that was a huge game with Ohio State and Indiana, and we knew that it had all kinds of implications. As far as would Indiana be playing in the Big Ten championship and all that? Which now it appears that it's going to be Ohio State and Oregon. But the good thing is even though Indiana lost, several other teams that were in the championship run or the playoff run there, they also lost. And so, some teams like Alabama, you almost are like they're completely out of the picture to me, man. They've lost some big games. So, but yeah, man. Now, yesterday was just one of those game or one of those weeks where teams that really didn't have a shot at the playoffs were playing spoiler, and they'll probably continue to do it this coming week as well.
Yeah, let's take a look at that. ESPN just released their power rankings for the college football top 25. Let's check it out. They got Notre Dame or Oregon is at number 1. They hold steady after staying in that same spot from last week. Moving up to 2, still in 2 is Ohio State after their win over the Hoosiers yesterday. Number 3 is the same, Texas. Number 4 is Notre Dame, moving up from the 9th position after their big win over undefeated Army yesterday. 5th is the Nittany Lions of Penn State, staying the same. Georgia moves up to 6th from 8th spot after their impressive win over UMass yesterday. 7th is the Hurricanes of Miami, moving up from the 10th spot. MSU cracks the top 10 for the first time, moving up from 13th in the rankings. Number 9 is Tennessee, moving up from 12th. The Hoosiers drop all the way back to 10th after that defeat to Ohio State. 11th is Boise State. And 12th is Arizona State, moving up to the 12th spot. And the two teams sitting right outside of that is Clemson.
Yeah, I was going to say, go ahead and name number 13 or 14. Yeah.
Yeah, so Alabama, that was a crushing loss that they took from Oklahoma. I mean, they only put up 3 points in that game. It was 24-3. You can't think of a worse time that Alabama could have crumbled. Now they're sitting with 3 losses, 8-3 on the season, and their chances of making the playoff look slim. Bennett, what do you? Bennett's got his mic muted right now. D'Lo, what do you think about Alabama's chances now of making the playoffs?
I got to think that they're pretty much slim to none at this point, man. They've taken 3 losses, and none of them have been like, I don't know. It just, Alabama doesn't look like the same team without Saban there, and so it's going to take them a little while to adjust to this new culture shift or whatever it is. They're already talking about firing their coach, and so there's going to be some unstable times at Alabama for a little bit. I mean, it's going to be things that they're not used to, and I honestly believe that they definitely should miss the playoff this year. I don't think
Alabama's been strong for 20 years. But before that,
and they'll be strong again. It's a change.
Before that, there's going to be some changes that have to take place, and We all remember the 90s. Alabama was never in the conversation.
They won a national championship in the 90s.
99?
92 with Gene Stallings running it down there.
And then they just went to shit because I remember Florida, Florida State, Notre Dame, Miami,
Nebraska.
Like Alabama. They just went to shit for a while, and then they came back in the early 2000s, and they've been on a war path since.
Well, Bennett, you've been stating that you think 4, possibly 5 teams are going to make it from the SEC. What do you say now?
There's no way. They can't.
So now you're falling into what I've been telling you all along. These teams have been beating on each other all season long.
They're a bunch of fuck-ups, man.
That's true. D'Lo, we talked about a lot of teams. We've only talked about one team coming from the ACC. Now it looks like you could have 3 teams. What do you think about that?
I mean, yesterday definitely helped some of those underdog teams. Like I said, it even helped Indiana because, if some of those teams would have won yesterday, they would have been moving up, and it may have pushed Indiana even further back. And where some of these other teams that did lose are falling back, it's allowing some of these underdog teams, such as the ACC teams and shit, to move up. But I don't know, man. It's crazy because it's like, as a college football fan, you want to see the best teams win, man, and you kind of feel like, man, it's like a SMU or something gets in there, man. It's just like, how much will they be able to compete with the Ohio State or Oregon or a Penn State? Even in Indiana right now, man, all of their players out of Indiana, I know they rank big time in offensive numbers and things like that, but a lot of their players are out of James Madison, a team that was FCU or whatever it is team that moved up to become a Division I school. FCS, yeah, and they moved up to become a Division I school, and they were great, dude. They were 11-1. It's just, I don't know, man. Yesterday we seen that those players from James Madison don't stack up well against guys from like Ohio State, man. Those guys ran over them yesterday, man. That middle linebacker out of Ohio State, he had a day yesterday, man. I mean, he had a first.
Again, I bring it up that like you see it more and more.
We lost Bennett. He'll be back. Deal. What I'm talking about is like the SMUs. SMU right now currently is sitting at 10-1, 7-0 in the ACC. They came out and got a big win. Miami continued their dominance yesterday. Yep. I think that there's a third team in there. I'm trying to think of who that was. Clemson with a 51-14 win over Citadel.
Clemson, they're kind of new to the race now because they've been kind of hanging back most of the season, right? And now they're right there in the mix, right?
Yes, they're moving up. And as we all know, that the ACC will get one guaranteed team that will get a bye with the conference championship winner, but possibly with the SEC losing and beating out, and they're getting 3 or 4 losses, we could see 2, possibly 3 teams get into the playoff now from the ACC.
All right, so I got a question for you and Bennett. I want you to put your coach shoes on and put yourself in a position as a college football coach that's running a D1 program here, and you're trying to compete for a championship, and you're sitting down with your AD, and you're making your schedule for the season. Now, there's got to be your AD says, look, we got a couple cupcake schools that have decided to pay us some money to play them, so we got to put them in our schedule. Do you decide to play those cupcake schools early on and it hurts your early ranking, or do you play those cupcake schools at the end and it could possibly hurt your late ranking because other teams could be playing ranked teams and moving up as you're playing cupcake schools trying to avoid getting knocked out of a big bowl or taking a loss at the end of the season. What would you do as a head coach?
Definitely, I would. I'll jump in first, Bennett. Definitely, I'd play them in the beginning because you're waiting for your team to gel in live action football. So I would rather play those easier teams at the start of the season, build that confidence up before I start playing my conference teams. You know what I'm saying? So thing is, you don't want to schedule too many of those. We've seen that where
No, but most ADs will take a couple $1 million to schedule a couple of them throughout the season. Yeah, you know,
we've
like
seen that
you'll
Notre
see
Dame.
like
Notre Dame's only loss this season was to Northern Illinois.
Rice or Northern Illinois. Yeah,
Northern Illinois.
They lost to Rice last year, didn't they?
Yeah, and they took that loss. That was the second game of the season. That's their only loss. Though. But then since then they played 4 ranked teams and they beat them. You know what I'm saying? But that one loss is kind of stinging them because it's to a lower level school like that. So, what would you do, Bennett?
Absolutely.
No, I would take it. I would take it early on as well. Kind of like a preseason game. You're prepping your team. You're getting like you said, Phil, trying to gel and see where you guys are at and see kind of what the weakness is and where you need to build up your strengths in certain situations. But no, I would definitely go earlier on. I don't want to be sitting at week 10 or 11 and take a loss to a fucking Division II team when I'm sitting at like 8th and now it drops me down 22nd and I'm out of the playoff.
I absolutely hear what both of you guys.
You're going to take a loss no matter if you lose to one of these guys. You're going to take a loss anyway, which you should. But if you take it earlier on in the year, you got a chance to build back.
Yeah, and that's why a lot of these coaches see it that way. They decide to schedule them earlier on, or at least scatter them through the beginning and the middle of the season so they don't get hurt as bad if they do take a loss. But as much as I hear what you guys are saying, and I've never been a coach at any level, so I can't put my coaching shoes on, but this is what I think I would do in this situation. I honestly think that I would schedule them later in the year and hoping that I would land them as the last couple games of the year. Not, and you do take a risk of it really hurting your ranking and things like that, especially if you take a loss. But it gives you an opportunity to get up on some of these teams and rest some of your guys that may be having ankle injuries or quad injuries or shit like that going into these playoff games, and that may end up proving invaluable.
You're not going to jump a lot of points. You're not going to jump any positions at all. You're not going to jump up a lot of points at all. Week 10, week 11, if you're playing Nichols, Pennsylvania, we found out today that it was Nichols, Massachusetts, but you're not going to do anything by playing Tulane or Navy or anything.
Tulane is actually ranked right now.
Who?
And so is Navy. Well, Navy was, I know, earlier on when they played.
But
when Navy played Notre Dame.
A couple of trash teams, you're not going to get any kind of leeway by anybody judging it if you're playing a Division II piece of shit school. It's not going to help you.
Where's what and
it can only hurt you, honestly. But at the same time, where the only way that it really can help you a little bit is just allowing your guys. Yeah, just allowing your guys to get healthy if you get up big on them. Allowing some guys to sit down.
That's not a bad idea, but at the same time, like I said, if you take a loss or even a close win, that might hurt you in the rankings. That's the last spot you want to be in at the end of the year. Taking a loss.
To me, honestly, it's a little bit bigger of a gamble than it is the reward that it can help. But I just feel like if you're trying,
Alabama, like Ohio State, somebody like Michigan, you can take their first 2 losses right from the beginning of the year, and yet everybody's going to
You can
forget
bounce
about
back.
that shit.
Yeah.
You're going to
Yeah.
climb back up the rankings.
Well,
Whereas
because
if
they
you take
come
a
back
loss
through.
in the 10th week, everybody's going to notice. They're going to pay attention. They're going to remember. They're going to bring it up. Now you got that
Yeah.
thrown in your fucking face every week.
Yeah. Well, it's because those big teams like that, they come back and beat 3 or 4 ranked teams throughout the year, just like Phil said with Notre Dame. So
Hey guys, what I would like to do right now is I'm going to write down. I would like for us to pick who our 12 teams are that's going to make it, and we got 1 week left to go. We got next week, and then you got championship week. But right now, I'd like to go ahead and fill it out and see who do we think are going to make it, and then we'll see if we're right, if we're close, whatnot. So,
well, if you're going to do this, go ahead and first we got to name the teams that are in the championship games.
well, not all of them are set up for the championship game, so they're still okay. Like we know the SEC, Georgia's waiting for the winner out of Texas and Texas A&M. The Big Ten
Okay.
game is locked up. It is Ohio State taking on Oregon.
Hey, let's go a step further and just finish the bracket out.
Yeah, I mean that's fine. Well, I'm going to label them down on.
No,
on
I'm not
who-
talking about like who's going to be in the, but who's going to win.
That's fine.
Who's going to win? Who's going to win the actual championship?
Yeah.
Well, I'll ask you guys first. Okay. I will ask you guys the team. You guys let me know if they're going to make it. All right. Oregon.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right. That's Oregon for all of us. Okay. Ohio State.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right. OSU. Next up, Penn State.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right. Next up, Texas.
Yeah.
Yes.
Phil getting us some softballs right now, D-Lo.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. Next up, IU.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. That might have been one of the more harder ones because some people think they might not make it. Georgia.
I think it would take Purdue beating them for them not to make it.
Yeah, I agree. So Georgia, does Georgia get in?
Yeah.
All right. Next up, Notre Dame.
Yes.
Bennett.
Yeah.
All right. Miami.
Man. Miami's sitting third in the ACC right now, right?
Yeah,
Second.
but that's well, technically, Clemson. That's because they haven't played as many conference games yet. Clemson plays South Carolina next week, which isn't a conference game, while Miami does play next week in a conference game.
So if Miami wins their conference game, they're going to the ACC championship
Against SMU.
So yeah, I say Miami gets in.
What do you say, Bennett?
Miami for sure.
All right. I say Miami too. Next up is Tennessee. Does Tennessee get in?
I say yeah.
Bennett?
Yeah.
All right. I'll say Tennessee gets in as well. Let's see. Boise State. Does Boise State get in?
See, this is where it gets tough, man. The Mountain West doesn't have an automatic bid, right?
Yes, they do. They don't have an automatic
Oh,
bid, but they have a. They don't get a buy, but they get an automatic bid.
Oh, so they get an automatic bid. And who will Boise State be playing in the Mountain West Championship?
I'm wanting to say Hold on, let me pull it up. Let's see. The next one in line is UNLV. They're 9-2, 5-1 in the conference.
Yeah, I think Boise State will get in.
Okay. Bennett?
Boise State get in.
Okay. Next up is hold on for a minute. I'm pulling it up. SMU.
Yeah, I do believe they will.
Bennett?
I think that I think that only two
I think they get in. We're getting into fucking deep waters now. I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
Not
Okay,
like
this
SMU is a bad team, but just saying we're getting into deep waters to where.
I think SMU. Man, it's like will they take a hit if they lose that ACC championship?
But if they lose it, we already put Miami in. And what if Miami lost to SMU? That would guarantee.
I think
SMU
Miami. What's SMU's current ranking versus Miami's? Miami's is like 5 or something.
8.
It depends on what ranking you're wanting to go off on.
We know what you believe in, Phil. It ain't the AP, it's the FPA or whatever the fuck that is.
The one that
comes out Tuesday night.
Okay.
But currently in the coaches poll, they have SMU, and they just released the new coaches poll. It just got released. SMU is sitting at 9th. Miami is 7th.
Damn, they're close. I think they both get in, man. I don't know. This is like Bennett said.
At this point in time, I think they both need to get in.
But if they both get in, then I'm only saying 2 come out of the ACC. So if they both get in, then they're bumping Clemson.
Clemson is 12th in the new rankings right now.
There you go.
So here's what we've done is we have 11 teams, and we've all chose the same 11 teams. We have one more to choose. We have all the conference winners. So, or what we think will be. So for the 12th spot, you have to decide now, is it going to be Clemson? Is it going to be Alabama, South Carolina, Arizona State, Ole Miss, Iowa State, Tulane? That's what we got to decide. BYU, I feel like
their last 2 games, actually their last 3 games, they won the one 3 weeks ago, but they lost their last 2. They might have
Colorado in there, Phil.
Well, actually, what we haven't done is we have not named we have not named a team from the Big 12. So this last one getting in would have to be from the Big 12 conference, and you have to decide: is it going to be Arizona State, BYU, Iowa State, or Colorado?
I'm going Arizona State. I would have went BYU. I would have went BYU had they not lost this week, but
I know you'll go against us, Phil, with your religious beliefs, but we're going Arizona State.
Arizona State. Man, I mean, I don't see Iowa jumping enough to get in there. I'm going to have to agree with you guys. I'm going to have to put Arizona State. We
Damn,
all
man.
agreed. So that would be all the conference champions in there. And so in the end, we see 4 teams from the Big Ten, which I've stated from the very get-go, all 4 of them was going to get in. We're taking 3 teams from the SEC. We're taking Notre Dame from the Independents, and then we're taking 2 from the ACC in Miami and SMU. We're taking conference champs, Boise State and ASU. And that's who we've decided is going to make the playoffs. And we all agreed on it. So we'll have to see if that comes down and if that's true. But that could be a hell of a playoff. But let me ask you this now. Out of those teams, guys, who wins it? Bennett, let me ask you, who wins it all?
Nah, tell him run down the brackets. Like let's put seedings on it.
There's no bracket set yet, though. That's
Yeah, there's
hard
not
to
no bracket
determine.
set, but we would have it as ASU would get a bye. Boise State does not get a bye, even though they're a conference champion, but ASU would get a bye. The winner out of Oregon and Ohio State would get a bye. The winner out of Texas and Georgia would get a bye. And then the winner out of Miami and SMU would get a bye.
All right, well, the best I can give you right now without seeing the brackets is I'm going to go with my 2 favorites, Oregon, Notre Dame.
Bennett's got Oregon versus Notre Dame. Who do you got, D'Lo?
Once you get brackets, I'll tell you more. But right now, that's what I'm thinking.
Who do you think, D'Lo? Who's playing in the national title game? Pick 2 of the teams.
I'll agree with Oregon for sure. Man, my heart's telling me Texas, man.
Texas, huh? I'm going to say Notre Dame versus. Who do you say?
Indiana.
No, Indiana's not gonna make it.
Full of shit, Phil. No one even believes your fucking opinion anymore.
Shut up. No, I honestly believe that it's going to be Notre Dame versus Oregon.
I mean, that's not a bad pick, man. That's just let's see if Notre Dame can hold it together. I mean, there's a lot of experts out there that are saying early exit for Notre Dame, like they got hot and now they're not going to perform in the playoffs. But we'll see. Definitely pulling for them. It's an Indiana team, so
I just hope that in the first round we don't get Notre Dame versus IU, and that's a very good chance that we could because of the 4 byes. And as we've stated, you know what I'm saying, according to our opinion, it'd probably be Oregon getting a bye. I think Texas would get a bye. I'll say SMU over Miami to get a bye, and then Arizona State would get a bye. So those 4 teams would be waiting. So you would have an Ohio State, which I hope Indiana wouldn't play against them either. I'd rather see them against a fresh team that we haven't seen them against. But unfortunately, I don't think we're going to get Indiana and Boise State in the first game. So they'll rank them. And then after the 4 teams get a bye, it'll be 5 through 12. And based on where they're ranked, Indiana will probably end up playing a 5 or 6 seed, which would be like an Ohio State or a Georgia. So,
yep.
But Notre Dame won't get a bye. But I got to believe that they're going to be one of those top teams too. They're going to be one of those right there, a 5 through 7 is what I see them being. So, but I'll tell you what, it's good because we have 12 teams. Unlike in previous years, we've only had 4. It's been a struggle with only 4 teams. There's always somebody left out crying, saying I should have been in.
I mean, it's unproven. It's unproven as well. 4 teams is unproven.
Yeah, but now with 12 teams, you're getting some different mix of teams, and it's like if you want in, win your conference. That's all you got to do is win your conference, and you got a guaranteed spot in this thing. So
Win your conference at 7-6 at SEC and
but
Yeah, I mean that's the whole thing, dude. It just I've been talking about. Not only do you not want 500 teams in there and shit like that, like teams with 500 records, but you also like I said, you just got to be careful with this shit, man, because teams might have a little bit softer schedule to get in, and as soon as they get into those playoffs, they just get fucking demolished, and it's like, why did you waste a spot on them? I think that's why they're considering eliminating the conferences and just taking the top 12 teams at the end of the season.
Well, I got one more question for you guys.
State's a good example.
I would like both of you guys to give me your underdog. Who is your underdog in this college playoff that's going to surprise some people?
It could
Chicago Bears.
it could very well be it could very well be SMU, somebody that's been doing playing under the radar all season, that or in Indiana, somebody that's just you think that they're not up to the caliber of talent, and they come in and shock the world. TCU did it a few years ago,
So are you
people were like,
taking
but
SMU as your underdog?
I think so, man. Yeah. Yep.
Who do you have?
I'll tell you one that's not even on our radar right now. Texas A&M.
Well, they wouldn't be in this. You've already stated who you thought was going to get in.
Yeah, well, I'm reiterating Texas A&M.
I'll put that down.
They play Texas this week. And,
hey, what's A&M stand for, Bennett?
Agriculture and mechanics.
There you go. All right. Not athletics and medicine?
Well, I mean, it was in the past, but they've they've modernized themselves to where.
Here, I'm going to put down who I think could be an underdog and surprise, and I'm going to put down Penn State.
Yikes!
I mean, they're good, but
they keep touching school.
God damn it!
I just feel like they're a team that, even though they almost lost to Minnesota yesterday, they won by 1 point. I feel like when they get into the playoffs, I think that they're going to surprise some teams. And listen, I've been a big hype man for IU, but yesterday's game really deflated me on them. And yeah, I think they're going to get in, but unless they play, and they won't play at Boise State. They just won't. They won't play an ASU. They're going to play either Notre Dame, Ohio State, or Georgia. And so therefore, I feel like they're going to be one and done. They're going to make the tournament, but they're going to be done.
Well, I mean, if that's the case, then Caminetti's got work to do early. Like he needs to be getting to work on his.
Give him a crack at Georgia.
Do what?
Give him a crack at Georgia.
You think so?
Yeah, I like those odds, man.
That's interesting.
I mean, Phil said that he hopes that it's an S, or was it you, Bennett, that said hoping it's an SEC team? So
no, I hope it's an SEC team. That way we can shove that back down their fucking throat.
Yeah, I would love for them to be an SEC team. Don't get me wrong, that would be awesome. But would you guys agree that Alabama is probably the team that everybody thought was going to make this and really choked down the stretch?
I don't know, man. Like I said, it's a big culture change in Alabama. It's you're going from Saban to whoever this guy is. It's just like the Patriots this year, man. I mean, as much as Mayo was a part of Belichick's system, he's not Belichick, and you got to adjust to that, and that's where it's at, man. So, did I expect Alabama to be anywhere close to even being right there at the championship level this year? Really, no, I didn't. And so it's kind of surprised that they've made it as far as they have this year. So
I agree. Well, the coaches poll just came out, and they have Oregon 1, Ohio State 2, Texas 3, Penn State 4, Notre Dame 5, Georgia is 6, Miami is 7th, Tennessee is 8th, SMU is 9th, IU is 10th, Boise State is 11th, and Clemson is 12th. And sitting right a spot out is Alabama at 13th, and South Carolina is 14th.
and see, that's just a credit to the program, man, of Alabama, because in all honesty, I don't think they're the 13th best team in the country right now with how things are. And
if you got that fucking record and you're sitting in Tennessee, you got that record and you're sitting in Illinois, you got that record and you're sitting in Iowa, you got that record and you're sitting in fucking Wyoming, you got that record sitting in fucking New York, you're not getting in with that record. Alabama is clearly sitting there because of their credentials.
They are the highest ranked team. They're the highest team with 3 losses, sitting there at 13.
There you go. There you go. I'm not making this shit up. It's right there in fact.
No.
But like I said, only 12 teams get to make it, and the 12 teams that they have ranked, they do not have a winner coming out of the Big 12 currently. The highest ranked Big 12 team is Arizona State, sitting at 15th. Well, they're going to make it. So, I mean, they're going to make it over the 12th team that they have, which is Clemson, as a guaranteed spot.
Pushed out.
What's that?
Clemson getting pushed out.
Yeah, Clemson would get pushed out. If you went by their ranking right now, the top 12 teams, Clemson, even though they're 12, wouldn't make it, and Arizona State would if they win, because they're the highest ranking out of the Big 12. So they would get in over Clemson, even though Arizona's sitting at 15th.
Yeah. Well, in my mind, since they redid the fucking divisions the way they did this year, which is totally ludicrous to me, but you take 12 teams and then put them out there. You rated 12 teams, you rated 12, and whether I agree on or not, then put them out there. Don't go back and look at divisions, because clearly you fucked up the goddamn division since day one. So don't look at divisions anymore. The fact that they're even looking at divisions for the first round buys it's crazy to me. These people are fucking idiots. They're idiots.
Well, here's the thing. The NCAA has talked about possibly eliminating the conferences and all that shit. And what you're saying would basically do that. If they have no significance, then there's no reason for them to be there. But you're going to get a lot of pushback from your Big Tens, your SECs, your fucking Big 12s, your Pac 12s, like all these conferences, because there's a lot of people making a lot of money inside of these conferences. And when you're saying we're just going to
switch it around and turn it around and put it in this fucking division or that division,
what do you mean you're not going to lose money?
You're probably going to make more money if you fucking
the
shove
schools
it
probably
the streaming network.
The schools might make more money, but these people that are in charge, like the SEC president and shit, those jobs will be eliminated. There's no reason to have those guys around if there's no conferences.
Everybody's known for 12 fucking years for no reason to have these guys around.
Yeah, no, I agree. These man.
Guys are fucking morons. They do everything for themselves. They do everything to get paid, and they're fucking idiots. They don't do nothing. It's not like they're subjugated or they do any kind of judiciary fucking thing to where they get their team in that conference and fucking. They're not making money.
Well, they're
not losing money.
I don't know how you can say that. Look at the president of the Big Ten and the president of the SEC, dude. They've done pulled in Oregon and fucking Texas and big time schools, dude. Like,
but look,
yeah,
the commissioners that run them
sell their souls for the conference, and it's like, yeah, they're making more money, but like, why? It's not good for the college football arena. It's not gonna last. This shit is not gonna last. Do you think me and you is the only people talking about this shit that are stupid? No, the whole country.
Well, no, I mean it's already made it up to the highest levels. Obviously, the NCAA is talking about if they don't figure something out, then they're just going to eliminate it. Because I mean, right now, dude, the only thing that you can really do is just throw everybody, split it in half, and put the big half in the Big Ten, half in the SEC, and that's the only way it would be fair, dude. Like the Big 12 and the Pac-12, even though they're trying to rebuild, they're never going to be able to compete with these big boy conferences, dude. Like,
Well, they're getting a spot at the table at least, so they've made it to where they get a spot at the table.
But I think that's the problem, though. I think the SEC and the Big Ten are like, we could put Iowa in over some of these conference champions. You know what I mean? Like, and the SEC's like, why wouldn't Alabama go in over some of these conference champions? You know what I mean? Like, there's a legitimate argument, man. Just like Florida,
the conference champions a spot in the dance. So I mean,
but that's what I'm saying, though, dude. Like, do you want the best 12 teams at the table, or do you want these conference champions of these small conferences to get guaranteed bids and be there just because, hey, they contribute money too? Nah, it's like, if you really want the best,
at this point, you got to go away from everything that you've already done, like for 100 years, and you gotta do more of NFL type of relationship and do NFL, AFL, American Conference, in a national conference, and then you got to go west, east, south, central, west, whatever. I mean, north, whatever, what the fuck ever. But I mean,
are you saying like go the same way like the NFL is, have like divisions?
Yeah. Yes.
Man, there's 100 and some teams, bro.
So get rid of half of them. They ain't worthy to be there anyway.
That's the problem. That's the problem is when people say that. You know what I'm saying? They have these teams. And what are you going to do? You're going to stick them all back in IAA?
But nah, dude, they serve their purpose. That's the thing. Is like,
and put them in the east and west and north and west. You know what I mean?
They serve their purpose as like, especially in athletics. You know, if like you don't have the greatest academics to go to Notre Dame, but you want to go there, you go to one of these smaller D1 schools, perform well, get your academics up, and then you transfer over to Notre Dame. It's one of those things that
Notre Dame might be the biggest fucking problem.
Why did he just roll his tongue like that?
I'm just saying Notre Dame might be the biggest fucking problem because
he did it again.
They're so independent, they will not take on a division or a conference or anything. And I understand why they did it, but at the same time, I disagree with it. I would force them into some kind of contract where they gotta play for a conference or a division. Otherwise, shut the fuck up.
Well, and with that, we've chosen our college playoff picks, and we're going to see if they come true.
You guys want to dive off into a little bit of AEW from last night, man? Like I checked it out for the first time. I haven't watched AEW in probably over 2 years, man, and I actually started checking it out a little bit last night. I only caught about 3 matches, I think, but
I don't want more the fucking match.
It was,
the thing is,
go ahead, Bob.
We're planning on trying to do a little segment, either a segment or we're going to actually make a whole little show on some wrestling talk every week, and we're going to call it like Turnbuckle Talk or something like that, you know. But anyway, we'll figure all that out. But you know, this is a good way to kind of lead into that. Phil said that he had all the results on that, so might as well jump off into it real quick.
Yeah, we had on the under show they had Anna Jay defeat Dina Purrazzo in a singles match. We had Buddy Matthews defeat Dante Martin, Commander, and the Beast Mortos in a 4-way match. They had a guy.
Hey, just before we get any further in this, I usually do buy these reviews. I didn't buy them last night. I was drunk. Nor did I care about watching this stupid ass shit. But I constantly tell Phil, this is dumb. This is stupid. So if you get a lot of dumb, stupid, or non-recommendations from me, that's not my fault. That's how I do it regularly with when me and Phil talk personally on the phone. So I just want to put that out there. I didn't watch this shit. Usually I do pay for this shit, which is stupid of me. I'm glad I didn't pay for it last night because this shit was stupid. Um, so that's probably where you'll get in comments.
That's all
Yeah,
right.
well, I mean, for the record, since Bennett decided to go ahead and go with that, I've been telling these fellas that AEW was a shit product for a good while now. But Phil convinced me to go ahead and take a chance last night and check out this pay-per-view so we could have some things to talk about. So I'm gonna go ahead and let Phil finish reading off the results, and then we'll jump off into some of this shit.
All right. We had a 4-way match for the AEW World Tag Team titles as the champions Private Party kept their belts by defeating the Outrunners, the Kings of the Black Throne, and the Acclaim. Their biggest star, MJF, defeated Roderick Strong by submission in a singles matchup. The TBS Women's Champion, Mercedes Moné, defeated Chris Statlander by pinfall. We had Jay White, the Switchblade, defeating Hangman Adam Page by pinfall. We had, in a shocker, some would say, Kyle Fletcher defeated Will Ospreay by pinfall in a singles matchup. Daniel Garcia, the man that loves to dance, defeated Jack Perry to win the TNT Championship by submission. Takeshita defeated Ricochet to keep his international championship. And the newly arriving and debuting Bobby Lashley with MVP and Shelton Benjamin defeated Swerve Strickland with Prince Nana by submission. And in the World Championship match, Jon Moxley defeated Orange Cassidy by pinfall in the AEW World Championship match. Bennett, what did you think about that outcome?
I could have called it from the start. I'm glad I didn't watch because I think the whole shit would have been dumb.
He's just not big on AEW.
Ospreay versus Fletcher probably was a good match. They probably fucking flipped and kicked and did all kinds of crazy shit all over the place. So that probably would have been entertaining.
Well, as Mama Cornette used to say, you win some, you lose some, Bennett.
Yeah, well, that's not the case when you fucking have 10 title fights and you only lose one.
Yes. Well, you know what I say? Bless his little pea-picking heart.
And Roderick Strong versus Tanosuke or whatever.
No, Roderick Strong took on MJF.
Yeah. How'd that go?
MJF beat him by submission.
Yeah, how though? How long did it last? It was terrible.
It lasted 13 minutes and 40 seconds.
The build up to that was terrible.
Yeah, I told D'Lo that today. He wasn't there for any of the build up. He just filmed vintages and threw them in. So
these build ups, and I watch AEW way more than I watch WWE. Even though I watch a lot of WWE, I watch AEW religiously, and I don't even understand why. I just want something better to go on in wrestling than WWE.
WWE's hot right now.
I know, but I just want something better. I want something different. But these guys produce the worst shit I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, let me ask you guys.
TNA produced a lot of bad shit. And maybe quit watching wrestling. And I'll tell you this: AEW is on the verge of doing the same thing.
Go ahead, D'Lo.
Let me ask you guys a couple questions. Like I said, I don't follow AEW at all. I try to tune into WWE when I can. Been a fan of WWE and WWF and WCW and all that shit since I was a kid. So But AEW's just never been something that I've been into. I've never been into was never into TNA when they tried to do they do a 5 or 6 sided ring and all that
Six-sided ring.
shit. Yeah, I never followed any of that bullshit. But there's some things that I noticed last night. It looked to me like if you had bought a ticket to that show last night, they would have probably moved you down into the lower levels. If they even sold tickets for the upper levels. And it looked like they blacked out the upper levels. It looked like they had the lights off for the upper levels, so you couldn't see up there to see that they were probably empty. Is this sustainable? Is this something?
Well,
I mean, I understand that Shahid Khan is a billionaire, and Tony Khan has access to pretty much an unlimited amount of money. I mean, at some point it runs out, but Shahid Khan is still continuing to make money, so Tony Khan's not going to get cut off anytime soon. But is this sustainable, man? I mean, legit. Like you are renting massive arenas to put on house shows. You're probably putting 1,000 people in it. In an arena that holds 20,000.
Yep.
I mean, how is that?
They just signed a new TV deal with Warner Brothers Discovery that's paying them significantly more than what they were making on their first deal with them. So they already got it.
Back in the fucking day, me playing my character back in the days, wrestling character, would they give me $1 million? Probably. They probably would have gave Red Lincoln $1 million.
I don't.
Well, why? Are you talking about AEW?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I could see that. I could see AEW paying H-Bomb and Ray Lincoln and Colton Cash. That's how bad I think it is.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, but also, you say it's sustainable because they've signed a big deal with
Warner
Brothers and shit. Yeah, so it's sustainable through that time. Do you think that Tony Khan needs to, step back and hire a GM or a creative control guy
where cut his own fucking throat, man? Whatever it takes, get out there. Get out there.
Yes.
Yeah.
They need to
hire where they start to actually incorporate some storylines into it. That's the problem that I see. I can't follow that. The champions just fighting random guys every other week, and the feuds. There's no build up, and I can't follow.
Man. I've watched plenty of fucking morons try to take control over a wrestling organization. He is the biggest moron I've ever seen in my life.
Well, I think his biggest problem is still to this day is he's such a nice guy, dude, that he listens to the wrestlers. He listens to guys like Chris Jericho and John Moxley and all these guys, and they have convinced him that they are the top of the line. They're the main eventers. And dude, you got in-house talent like what's the black guy's name? Swerve
Strickland.
Swerve Strickland, yeah. You got guys like him, and you got guys like what is it, MJF or
Yep.
Yeah, you got guys like them that you should be building up and making your top talent. And even when you sign an old WWE guy, those guys should fall back to those guys, to your homegrown talent. And that's not at all how they're doing it. Swerve Strickland just got destroyed last night by
Bobby Lashley.
Bobby Lashley. Like, he didn't hardly get any moves off. You know what I mean? Like, why would you bury him like that, dude?
And this is your
that's your homegrown talent.
Former AEW World Champion that they had just put the belt on earlier this year, and they had him drop a. It wasn't even close. The match lasted for 13 minutes, but it was basically him getting beat down for most of that 13 minutes.
It just doesn't make sense to me, man. Like, You know,
you'll see. We're going to do this. We'll do this next weekend for the Survivor Series pay-per-view. We'll put a like a predictions, a review show out, and we'll call it Tales from the Turnbuckle. We'll throw it out there. You'll see it'll be totally different now to where the actual wrestling might be a little bit more exciting on AEW's part, but there's no storyline. So you're kind of just like watching them do these moves, but there's no storyline going on. And when you watch WWE, you'll see the moves might not be as the wrestling matches themselves might not be like these 5-star matches, but they have a story behind it.
Well, that's the biggest thing. That's the type of shit that'll draw eyes to it if there's a story to follow. If there's not a story to follow, then like I said, man, MJF's a great talent, and Swerve Strickland's a great talent, and Bobby Lashley will draw some eyes to you, and Moxley's got his following, and Chris Jericho's got his Fozzy fans, and there's people that can be drawn to it. But if they don't have anything to follow and the dude's just going in there doing random matches every week, what the fuck's the point of tuning in, man?
Well, they're trying to do that with John Moxley's group. They're trying to do this storyline with him and these guys taking over, but it's kind of just falling flat.
I love how Cornette just destroys AEW.
Yes.
I mean, he destroys Moxley. He destroys Tony Khan.
He's got nicknames for all of them. The Plumber, Pockets,
The only one I've heard him talk good about is MJF, man. And he's like, it's sad that his career's going to waste down there in that shithole,
Yeah.
So.
Well, we'll definitely do a Tales from the Turnbuckle for next weekend, and we'll get it on before Survivor Series, and we'll break down the matches, and you'll see it'll be a much better pay-per-view than what Full Gear was that AEW just put out. All right, guys,
so
we're about an hour now. We'll go ahead and jump up off here, and we'll be back this week for Jet Up, Bear Down, and for the NFL Weekly Pick'ems. Anything else you guys want to add before we go, Bennett?
No, I'm good.
D'Lo, anything you want to say?
Nah, man. Let's hope these Indiana teams fucking maintain their dominance. Let's hope Notre Dame and Indiana do what they got to do to get into the playoffs, man.
Yep, we'll see if our picks were right. All right, thanks for watching. Make sure you like, share, subscribe, and we'll see you back this week.
See ya.